The knife is a Spyderco Para Military 2, carbon fiber handle scales, and 52-100 steel. 52-100 steel is a basic carbon steel, similar to 1095, but with higher carbon content and a little bit of chromium added to the steel. The higher carbon content pulls the chromium in to form chromium carbide, and the excess carbon in the steel leads to a higher hardness through heat treat. 52-100 is an extremely tough steel, and in all of my experience with the steel has less resistance to corrosion than 1095. It's an interesting choice for a modern folder. Spyderco got a lot of demand for it, and so they did the military, and now the paramilitary 2 in 52-100. It was my intention right from the beginning to get the knife, patina the blade, and put a mirror polish on the edge. I noticed with the knife right out of the box that the quality on it was very high. It felt very good in hand. The action was very good. It felt very solid. I was really pleased with that. The edge on it was very good. It seemed to be very close to 30 inclusive with a slight micro bevel on it. Sometimes with Spyderco you get a micro bevel and sometimes you don't. I always take the micro bevel out. I don't deal with micro bevels, and so I usually remove them from the steel. Now when I'm going to patina a blade and then put a mirror polish on it, I always start on the coarse stone before I patina the blade and establish my angle, establish my bevel, get everything set so that after the patina is done, all I have to do is remove the patinaed steel and move through my progression to polish the blade. Even if you're not going to do a mirror polish, if you patina a blade, you need to sharpen it afterwards. You can't leave the patinaed steel on the edge. Your edge holding is going to be shot. The knife absolutely needs to be sharpened after the fact. I was working with a 500 grit Shapton, and I thought that I had taken the micro bevel out of the steel, out of the edge. I moved on to patina the blade. I took the knife apart. That was no problem. Came apart fine. The lanyard tube stuck, but it always does. But aside from that, it wasn't a problem getting the knife apart. And I'm not worried about the lanyard tube. I just want to get the blade loose so that I can fully submerge it. I don't leave the pivot out of the patinaing process, and I don't cover it or put anything on it to keep it from getting a patina. 52-100 is corrosive enough that I figure anything that's not patinaed is going to be a problem. You're going to get rust there. So same as I did with the military, I just said that the whole blade's going in, the whole thing's going to get a patina. I got the blade loose, and what I used to do the patina was cider vinegar. And I left it in for quite a while. It was over 90 minutes. I always clean the blade first. If you're dealing with a company that puts some kind of oil on a blade to protect it, and then you go to do a patina in something like cider vinegar, if you don't clean that oil off, that's going to challenge your patina. It's going to challenge whatever you're using to cause the patina. So clean the blade, fully submerge it in cider vinegar, 90 minutes with a few times taking it out to look at it, maybe letting it dry, letting the color start to set in, and then putting it back in. When that was done, I went to put the knife back together, and because I had the washers loose anyway, I figured I may as well polish them. Not really necessary on this model, I don't think, but I figured why not? I mean, since I already had them loose. I had some loose leather laying around with compound on it from some experimental stropping that I was doing, so I decided to use that, starting with 1 micron, then half micron, then quarter micron. And I brought up a nice polish on the washers. After that, I put the knife back together the rest of the way. Wasn't really a problem putting it back together. Knife went back together fine. Blade centered up just fine. And the action is great on it. This model is really well made. This sprint run was done really well. After that, I went to resharpen it, starting on the 500 grit Shapton, and I realized that I was sharpening on the micro bevel. I guess I hadn't taken it out. So I went ahead, I had only intensified it, and that's a problem. So using the 500 grit stone, I was trying to work the micro bevel out, but that was taking a long time, and it was a bad idea to stay on that course. I needed to get this done fast. I needed to be careful, but get it done fast. I didn't want to use diamond because diamond is going to put deep scratches in the steel. It's going to be hard to get out after the fact. So I moved on to a 250 grit king water stone. A 250 king stone is an extremely aggressive stone. It's going to chew through just about anything. And there's not any crazy carbide content or element content. 52100 is really going to challenge an aluminum stone. Even if you were using something high in carbide content, a 250 grit king is probably going to eat through whatever you put in front of it. So, like I said, it's an extremely aggressive stone. So being very careful, I worked with that stone and reestablished my bevel, my angle, completely took the micro bevel out. After that was done, I went back to the 500 grit Shapton and worked with that to begin taking down my the finish on the edge. After the 500, I worked with a 2000 grit Shapton, and then a 6000 grit Shapton, and then a 16,000 grit Shapton. With each stone, being careful to keep my angle right, looking for burr formation moving through. When that was done, I moved on to a 20K Suhiro and worked with that. That stone really brings the polish up on the edge. When that was done, I needed to move on to strops. And for this, I used all wood strops with diamond compound, starting with a 1 micron wood strop. And moved on to a 0.5 micron and then a 1/4 micron. I finished with a 0.1 micron diamond strop. When that was done, the mirror polish that had come up on the edge was really impressive. I was very pleased with it. The angle was good, the consistency was good, absolutely came out the way that I wanted it to. Had a nice contrast to the steel, and the edge was absolutely hair whittling sharp. Almost didn't want to whittle hairs. I mean, it was blowing through the hairs most of the time, but it very much was hair whittling, and I was really pleased with it. I was really happy with the way that it came out. So I'm looking forward to carrying and using this. Like I said, the quality is very high on it. Just the general build quality is very good. And with the toughness of 52100, you're not likely to get heavy edge deformation. The steel isn't real high in wear resistance. So much like with the military, what I'm thinking is low deformation and easily strops back as far as the apex is concerned with a diamond strop. So I'm wondering if the edge retention will be good. Now, beyond that, because I can use aluminum-based stones, Shaptons on it, Shapton, Suhiro, those kind of stones. Because I can use those stones on it, they don't cut as fast as diamond stones, diamond plates at least. They cut much slower. So over a long period of time, many sharpenings, you don't cut into the knife as fast. It takes longer for that. So there's that as well. But yeah, this was made really good, and I'm really, really happy with it. I'm wondering if over time, because of the toughness and the strength of the steel, if just using strops, I'm wondering how long I can run on this edge before I actually have to resharpen it. But regardless, it is a very nice model, and I'm very pleased with it. If you don't mind the issue of corrosion, whether you're going to do a patina or just put oil on the blade to try and keep it clear, I highly recommend picking this up. It seemed like Spyderco stepped it up a bit with this, and sometimes their sprint runs seem that way. And I don't have a problem with the normal quality of a paramilitary too, but this really surprised me. So I'm very happy with the purchase, and they really did a good job with it.